Hello, it's Foo Baba. You're in for a real treat today, this presidential day. As we celebrate all of our presidents, we get to learn about our first one, George Washington and the General's dog. George Washington is one of America's greatest heroes. Most people know that George was honest and brave. But there is something about George that people don't always know. George Washington loved animals. What is your favorite animal? George learned to ride horses as a boy. Can you ride a horse? Clippity clop, clippity clop. Sometimes he rode into town. George, he rode fast. But he never fell. People said he was the best rider they'd ever seen. Can you go faster than Foo Baba? George could. When George grew up, he moved to the farm called Mount Vernon. George checked on the horses and hogs. Foo Baba, Zodiac, Chinese Zodiac. I'm a pig. George, he checked on me. He checked on the oxen, mules, and sheep. But he spent most of the time with his dogs. I'll pause for just a moment so you can go get your dog if you have one to come on and join us. Or if you have any other animals. You might want to keep those oxen and pigs outside though. George, he had a lot of dogs. He owned 36 dogs in his lifetime. He took them hunting. He played with them. He even gave them cute names like Mopsy, Sweet Lips, and True Love. What's the name of your dog? My dog's name is Row, 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 Row. Sometimes George spoiled his dogs. He let them run all around the house. One day, George's wife, Martha, cooked a ham for dinner. George's dog, Vulcan, jumped up and stole the ham right off the table. Martha chased him after him, but George, he just laughed. There goes the ham. Oh, that could have been me. I'm a pig. Bacon. George liked being at Vermont or Mount Vernon. But Martha and the animals. But America needed him. America was not yet its own country. It was an English colony. That means it belonged to England. Many American colonists wanted to be free from England, so they went to war. The war was called the American Revolution. The colonists chose George to be their general. George chose his favorite dog, Sweet Lips, to go with him. Sweet Lips. Let's see your lips. Let's see you smile. Yeah, you Sweet Lips. He said goodbye to Martha and Mount Vernon. He jumped on his horse. His horse was named Nelson. Then he rode into battle. Sweet Lips was right beside him. In George's day, soldiers often brought dogs with them to war. Dogs helped hunt, and dogs helped track the way. Dogs helped guard against wild animals. Best of all, dogs, they were great partners. What can your dog do? Does your dog protect you? The general of the English army was named William Howe. He had a dog too. He also had 9,000 soldiers. They had plenty of supplies. George did not have nearly as many supplies. Sometimes his soldiers were cold. Sometimes they were hungry. But they did not give up. Don't give up. In the fall of 1777, George's troops went to Pennsylvania. They were fighting the English troops. Guns fired. Rat-a-tat-tat. Cannons roared. Boom, bang. Smoke filled the air. Finally, the fighting, it ended. The English soldiers went back to their camp. The battle was over for the day. The smoke began to clear. George noticed a dog without a soldier. It looked lost. George bent down and patted the dog's head. The dog followed George back to the colonist camp. He wagged his tail. "Whose dog is this?" wondered George. Whose dog is this? George looked at the dog's collar. The tag had a man's name on it. That name was William Howe. William Howe? George couldn't believe his eyes. William Howe, he was the enemy. Word about the enemy dog spread through the camp. Some of George's men wanted to keep the dog. But George said, no. George believed the dog belonged with his master. George had his friend Alexander Hamilton write a note to General Howe. The note said that George wanted to return the dog. Both sides raised white flags. The white flags meant no one could fight. George's soldiers walked the dog across the battlefield. They gave him back to General Howe. People in England found out about George's good deed. The English still wanted to beat George and win the war, but now they respected him. Some English people even liked him. They had never heard a story of such great kindness between two enemies. In 1783, America won the war against England. America became its very own country. George Washington went home to Mount Vernon. Friends around the world wanted to honor George. They wondered what it would be like. Then they remembered the story about the dog. Soon presents started arriving at Mount Vernon. The King of Spain sent George a mule. George named him Royal Gift. A friend from France gave George an even bigger gift. 7 dogs. George's work was not done though. The American people needed a leader. They elected George to be their first president. People all over America loved their new president. They cheered when he rode by in his carriage. They knew it was him because his 6 white horses always led the way. Now, Foo Baba and George and her dog, you learned a great story today on the President's Day of George Washington and how he wanted to make love, not war. He found out that this dog belonged to William Howe and they gave it back. That's a great act of kindness. So this President's Day, Foo Baba encourages you to go do a nice act of kindness. And from all of us, Happy President's Day. Bye-bye.